Adana was a stunning girl, known for her beauty and intelligence. Growing up in a small village, she was a brilliant student despite her poor background. Her parents were hardworking farmers who did everything they could to give her a good education. They always emphasized the importance of education, and Adana took their words to heart. She excelled in school, often finishing at the top of her class. Adana's childhood was filled with the simple joys of village life. She helped her parents on the farm, learned to cook traditional meals, and played with her friends in the fields. Her parents, despite their limited means, managed to create a loving and supportive home environment. They were immensely proud of Adana and often spoke of her bright future. When Adana finished secondary school with excellent grades, her hard work paid off. She secured a scholarship to university in the city, a dream come true for both her and her parents. It was a bittersweet moment when she left for the city. She was excited about the opportunities that awaited her, but saddened to leave her family and the village behind. Upon arriving at the university, Adana focused on her studies. She was determined to make the most of her scholarship and to honor the sacrifices her parents had made for her education. University life was challenging, but Adana thrived. She made new friends, engaged in extracurricular activities, and continued to excel academically. She graduated with top marks, earning a degree in business administration. However, after graduating, Adana's problems began. She applied to countless jobs but couldn't secure one. At many interviews, male employers suggested she sleep with them to get the job. But Adana, being a principled lady, refused them all. She was disheartened by the rampant harassment and corruption in the job market. Living with her school friend Tola, who had already secured a job in a small company, Adana felt increasingly hopeless. Every night, she cried herself to sleep, feeling the weight of her situation pressing down on her. Tola tried to comfort her, but Adana's spirits were low. One day, an urgent message came from home. Adana rushed back to her village and found her mother on a sickbed, needing a large sum of money for an operation. Her father, a peasant farmer, had already sold everything he had to pay the bills already incurred by her sick mother. As the only daughter and child of her parents, Adana knew she had to help them, but she was at a loss as to how. With a heavy heart, Adana returned to Lagos, determined to help her parents. Desperate, she took a menial job as a waitress in a restaurant and juggled it with a cleaning job. She worked from Monday to Sunday, from morning till late at night, saving every penny to send back home to help her sick mother. But it was not enough. Many men that frequented the restaurant where Adana worked always made passes at her. She was an attractive lady, and both young and old men promised her money and gifts if she would agree to be with them. But Adana, being a principled lady and knowing their intentions, never took them seriously. Among these men was Chinedu, a middle-aged man who claimed to be a successful businessman. Chinedu had an aura of confidence. One evening, he approached Adana while she was clearing a table. "Adana, beautiful Adana," he began with a charming smile. "You know I like you. Why don't you give me a chance?" Adana looked up from her work, her expression polite but firm. "Thank you, Mr. Chinedu, but I'm not interested." Chinedu was persistent. "I can help you, Adana. You deserve better than this. Let me take care of you." Adana shook her head. "I appreciate your offer, but I'm fine. I can take care of myself." One evening, Tola sat Adana down. "Adana, with the pennies you are saving to send home for your mother's operation, it will take you years to gather this money. Why don't you agree to one of the men toasting you at your restaurant, especially that Chinedu? He seems to like you and will do anything for you. I have seen the way he dotes on you every time I come to the restaurant." "What are you talking about, Tola?" Adana replied. "I told you I don't like him. My spirit doesn't flow with him." "No, not at all. This guy seems to genuinely like you. He doesn't look like a bad person," Tola suggested. "You can give him a chance." That night, Adana couldn't sleep. She kept thinking about her friend's words. She was already tired of poverty and in desperate need of money. The next day at work, when Chinedu came around, She was nicer to him than ever. Chinedu noticed the change and smiled warmly. Adana, you look even more beautiful today. How about we have dinner together at my place? I promise it will be worth your time. Adana hesitated but then nodded. Okay, Mr. Chinedu, I'll come. Chinedu gave her his address and invited her to visit. When Adana visited Chinedu's house, she couldn't believe her eyes. He was incredibly rich, with a huge mansion and luxury cars dotting his lavish compound. They talked and laughed, and Chinedu said, Adana, you are such an intelligent woman. Why would someone as smart as you be working as a waitress? Well, I tried all I could to get a job with my degree, but couldn't. I needed the money for my parents and to keep body and soul together, she explained. They talked about Adana's sick mother, and Chinedu promised to take care of the operation and pay for it fully, which he did. He also linked Adana with one of his business associates, who helped her secure a job. After a few months of dating, they got married, and things were rosy for a while. Initially, Chinedu seemed like the perfect husband. He was attentive, generous, and charming. However, subtle hints of his controlling nature began to emerge. He would often insist on knowing her whereabouts at all times, framing it as concern for her safety. It's just because I care about you, Adana, he would say with a smile. He started making decisions for her, from what she should wear to whom she should be friends with. I think you should wear this dress. It looks better on you, he would suggest, handing her a specific outfit. Why do you need to hang out with your friends? Aren't I enough company for you? At first, Adana didn't see these actions as problematic. She thought Chinedu was simply being loving and protective. But as time went on, his behavior became more controlling. He would get upset if she made decisions without consulting him. I just want to be part of your life, Adana, he would say when she questioned his growing interference. Adana's brilliance shone brightly as she quickly climbed the corporate ladder, earning accolades and respect from her colleagues. Her success was a source of pride for her, but it also became a point of tension in her marriage. Chinedu had always been a man who valued control. He thrived on being the provider and protector, the one who called the shots. Seeing Adana's rapid rise threatened his sense of identity and dominance. One evening, Adana came home just a little bit later than usual, exhausted but happy about a successful presentation. Chinedu, you won't believe how well my presentation went today. The CEO even congratulated me personally, she said, her eyes sparkling with excitement. Chinedu forced a smile, but his eyes were dark with resentment. That's great, Adana, he said flatly. But why are you coming home so late? Don't you care about your duties at home anymore? I told you earlier I would be coming home a little bit late today. I had important meetings, she replied, trying to keep her tone gentle. Chinedu's face twisted with anger. Do you think your job is more important than your responsibilities at home? You're neglecting me, Adana. Adana took a deep breath, trying to stay calm. Chinedu, you know I'm doing my best to balance everything. You know I am not neglecting you. But Chinedu's need for control continued to grow. He started checking on her frequently, calling her multiple times during the day, and questioning her about her colleagues, especially the male ones. He wanted to know every detail of her day, demanding she report back to him constantly. One night, Adana was reviewing some documents for an upcoming project when Chinedu barged into the room. What are you doing? He snapped. Just some work, Adana replied, startled. I need to finish this for tomorrow's meeting. Chinedu grabbed the papers from her hands and threw them across the room. No, you're done for the night. You spend too much time on this job. What about us? What about your duties as a wife? Adana tried to explain, but Chinedu wouldn't listen. You will not ignore me, he said, his voice low and menacing. From now on, you come home right after work. No more late meetings. But Chinedu, I can't just, she began. Enough, he shouted, slapping her hard across the face. You will do as I say. If you even think about leaving me, I will ruin you. I will destroy everything you've worked for. Adana cried herself to sleep every night, the fear and pain eating away at her. Chinedu's control extended to every part of her life. He dictated what she wore, who she could talk to, and where she could go. He would monitor her phone calls and messages, insisting she hand over her phone for inspection every evening. At work, Adana tried to focus, but the constant abuse at home made it increasingly difficult. She felt trapped, her dreams of a happy and successful life crumbling around her. Her colleagues noticed the change in her, but she was too afraid to confide in anyone. The once vibrant and confident Adana became a shadow of her former self, always looking over her shoulder, fearing the next outburst from Chinedu. She knew she had to find a way out, but with Chinedu's threats looming over her, escape seemed impossible. One morning, while Adana was preparing for work, Chinedu, as usual, began looking for trouble. "Have you prepared my meal?" he demanded. "Yes, your meal is on the table," Adana replied, trying to stay calm. She didn't want to provoke him further. "Why do you even have to go to that stupid job?" Chinedu snarled, his voice dripping with contempt. Adana took a deep breath, steeling herself. "Chinedu, you know I need my job to support myself since you've stopped helping me financially." For months now, Chinedu had completely withdrawn his financial support. Whenever she asked him for money, he would coldly reply, "I know you have men at your work who give you money. Go to them if you need anything and don't disturb me." This statement stung Adana every time, so she had no choice but to rely on her job for all her needs. Chinedu's anger had been simmering for weeks. Adana's rising success in her career fueled his jealousy and insecurity. That particular day, his rage reached a boiling point. "You're not going anywhere," Chinedu yelled, grabbing her by the arm. "You think you're better than me? You'll stay here and learn your place." "Chinedu, please, I have to go to work," Adana pleaded, her eyes wide with fear. "No!" he shouted, dragging her into a room and locking the door. "You're staying here, you don't get to leave." Chinedu called her workplace and told her boss she would never be coming back to work. "She's decided to stay home," he lied smoothly. "She won't be returning." Days turned into weeks, and weeks into months. Adana remained locked up like a prisoner in the house. Adana cried herself to sleep every night, the weight of her situation pressing down on her like a suffocating blanket. Chinedu seized her phone and only allowed her to have supervised calls to her parents and a few friends, censoring everything she said to make her appear happy. "Tell them you're fine," he would command, standing over her with a menacing glare. "Hello, Mama. Yes, I'm fine. Everything is good here," Adana would say, her voice trembling. She knew her mother could sense something was wrong, but she was too scared to say the truth. To make matters worse, Chinedu brought different women home daily. Adana, trapped in her room, heard their giggles and laughs, each sound a stab to her heart. This went on for a whole year, and Adana never set foot outside the house. She became a ghost of her former self, her spirit broken. When she wasn't locked in her room, Adana's movements in the house were restricted and closely monitored. Chinedu allowed her supervised access to only certain parts of the house: the kitchen, the living room, and the dining area. She was always accompanied by one of the maids or a guard, who reported back to Chinedu about her every move. She wasn't allowed near the front door or any of the windows, and the backyard was strictly off-limits. One night, after a particularly late meeting, Chinedu came home drunk and carelessly collapsed on the sofa, forgetting to remove the key from the back door as he usually did when he got home at night. Normally, when he arrived, he would dismiss the maids and guards to their quarters, lock all the doors, and remove the keys. But on that particular day, in his drunken state, he left the keys as they were. Slowly and carefully, Adana sneaked to the back door and unlocked it. Her hands trembled as she turned the key, praying that Chinedu wouldn't wake up. She knew she couldn't go through the front gate because of the gateman, who had strict instructions never to let her out of the building. Taking a deep breath, she headed towards the back gate, knowing it was her only chance. She jumped over the back gate, cutting herself on the barbed wire in the process. Pain shot through her leg, but she didn't stop. Adana landed in the bushes, her heart pounding. It was late and the darkness was terrifying, but she pushed through, driven by desperation. Branches scratched her skin, and the cold night air bit into her wounds, but she kept going. She knew a police station was not too far away. Limping and bleeding, she made her way there and spoke with the officer on duty, who took her to the divisional police officer in charge. "Please, I need help," Adanna said, her voice barely a whisper as tears streamed down her face. "My husband. He's been holding me captive, and he's a drug baron. I overheard his conversations." The divisional police officer listened intently. He took her detailed statement, then assured her, "Don't worry, you're in safe hands now." Adanna felt a flicker of hope. She had made a report about the domestic abuse and Chinedu's drug dealings, which she had overheard countless times over the phone. However, as she waited, the divisional police officer stepped out to make a call. Sensing something was wrong, Adanna tiptoed to the door to hear what he was saying. "Yes, her name is Adanna. She said she's your wife. What should I do? She made terrible confessions about you. We need to take care of this. She knows all the secrets of our business. She's gathered a lot of evidence. If this gets out, we're all doomed. She has been listening to your phone conversations without you knowing, Chinedu. She knows everything." "Okay, I'll take care of it." Adanna's heart sank. She quickly rushed back to her seat, pretending nothing had happened. When the divisional police officer returned, she asked, "Please, can I use the toilet?" "No problem," the divisional police officer said, unaware that she had overheard everything. Once in the toilet, Adanna frantically looked around for an escape. She noticed a small window high up on the wall. With adrenaline surging through her veins, she climbed onto the sink and managed to push the window open. Squeezing through, she jumped out and landed in the bushes behind the station. Her heart raced as she ran and ran. She ran into the road, not looking at the oncoming traffic. Suddenly, she was hit by a fast-approaching car. The driver, a young woman named Kemi, stopped immediately and rushed out to help her. "Oh my God, are you okay?" Kemi exclaimed, panic in her voice. Realizing the urgency, Kemi carefully helped Adanna into her car and sped towards the nearest hospital. "Stay with me. You're going to be okay," Kemi kept saying, glancing worriedly at Adanna. At the hospital, Kemi rushed inside and called for help. Medical staff quickly attended to Adanna, taking her into the emergency room. Adanna woke up in a hospital bed, disoriented and in pain. The room was quiet except for the steady beeping of the machines monitoring her. She tried to sit up, but her body ached all over. Just then, a kind-looking man walked in. "You're awake," he said softly, relief evident in his voice. "I'm Dr. Emeka. You were in an accident. Do you remember what happened?" Adanna's memories came flooding back. The escape, the police station, the call. She nodded weakly. "I was running away," she whispered. "My husband. He's dangerous." Dr. Emeka nodded, his expression serious. "You don't need to worry. You're safe here. The woman who found you is waiting outside. She's very concerned about you." A few moments later, the door opened and a compassionate-looking woman entered. Her eyes were filled with concern. "Hello, Adanna. My name is Kemi Olayinka. How are you feeling?" Adanna managed a small smile. "Dr. Emeka told me you've been through a lot. When you're ready, if you feel comfortable, I'd like to hear your story. Maybe there's something we can do to help." Adanna's eyes filled with tears of gratitude. "I don't know how to thank you." "You don't need to thank me," Kemi replied. "Let's focus on getting you better first." Over the next few days, Adanna recovered under the care of Dr. Emeka and the support of Kemi and her husband, Mr. Olayinka. As she started feeling better, she felt comfortable enough to share her story. One afternoon, she sat down with Kemi and told her everything. She revealed the abuse, the imprisonment, and the evidence she had gathered against Chinedu, who was a dangerous drug baron. Kemi listened intently, her expression growing more serious with each detail. "Adanna, you've been incredibly brave. My husband and I want to help you. I'm a lawyer and we can provide you with the legal assistance you need to bring Chinedu to justice." Adanna was overwhelmed with relief. "Thank you so much, Kemi. I don't know what I would have done without you." The Olayinkas assured Adana that they would help her seek justice. Kemi took up her case, meticulously preparing to expose Chinedu's criminal activities and the corrupt officials involved. With the solid evidence Adana provided, they knew they had a strong case. During this time, Adana stayed with the Olayinka family, who welcomed her with open arms. She began to heal emotionally, finding comfort and strength in their kindness. She also reconnected with Tola, who was relieved to know Adana was safe and offered her unwavering support. One morning, as Adana was helping Kemi in the kitchen, the doorbell rang. It was a police officer with important news. Chinedu and his associates have been arrested, he informed her. The evidence you provided was crucial. We've also found the corrupt officer. You're safe now. Tears of relief streamed down Adana's face. Thank you, she whispered. Thank you so much. With Chinedu and his criminal network dismantled, Adana was free to rebuild her life. The Olayinkas not only helped her win the case but also supported her in rebuilding her career. They introduced her to influential contacts in the business world, and with her talent and determination, Adana quickly regained her footing. Adana's event planning business flourished. Her reputation for excellence spread, and she became one of the most sought-after event planners in the city. Her success was a testament to her resilience and hard work. One day, while organizing an event, Adana met a kind-hearted man named Michael. Michael was an architect with a warm smile and a gentle demeanor. They quickly became friends, and their friendship soon blossomed into a beautiful romance. Michael admired Adana's strength and determination, and he supported her in every way he could. After a year of dating, Michael proposed to Adana. It was a beautiful evening, and he had planned a special dinner under the stars. With tears of joy, Adana said yes. They had a lovely wedding surrounded by family and friends, including the Olayinkas, who had become like a second family to Adana. Adana and Michael's love grew stronger with each passing day. They welcomed their first child, a beautiful baby girl, and 2 years later they had a boy. Their home was filled with love, laughter, and the joy of their growing family. Years later, Adana decided to give back to the community. She started a foundation to support victims of domestic abuse, offering them legal aid and a safe haven. Her story inspired many women, showing them that with determination and the right support, they too could overcome their struggles. After years of hard work and perseverance, she returned to her village, excited and nervous. She had a special surprise for her parents. She had been secretly building a new house for her parents, a dream home to thank them for their sacrifices and support. When Adana arrived, her parents were overjoyed to see her. She took their hands and led them to their new home. The beautiful house stood as a symbol of her love and gratitude. "Mom, Dad, this is for you," Adana said, tears in her eyes. "Thank you for everything. I couldn't have done it without your support." Her parents were speechless, their eyes filled with tears of happiness. They hugged Adana tightly, their hearts swelling with pride and joy. Adana's journey was filled with challenges, but she emerged stronger and wiser. She learned the importance of self-worth, resilience, and the power of love and support. Adana's story was a testament to the fact that no matter how difficult life may seem, there is always a way out. And with determination and the right support, any obstacle can be overcome. Adana, Michael, and their beautiful children lived happily ever after, surrounded by love and the fulfillment of their dreams.